So it's been a little while since I made a video. And the reason for that is that I like to speak when I feel inspired to speak. And so for the meantime, I've just been contemplating on this idea. And I had a certain story pop up, a memory that I forgot about. And when you start to go down the path of imagining creating reality, or imagination is the core of reality, you start to see life more symbolically. And then you look back at your past and you start to see symbolism in the past. Well, at one point it was just a memory, and then you see how it applies to imagination. And in my case, when I was about 14 years old, there was this rule that was placed in the school that we weren't allowed to wear shorts until I think either it was May or June. May or June. And at the time it was April. And everybody was complaining about it. It was a new principal that came in, and they were very authoritative, and they wanted to set up rules that we had to follow. And one of the random rules that they made was no shorts until we'll say May. Well, it was April, and it was a really hot day, this one particular day. And I felt the rule to be really stupid. I didn't understand the point of the rule, and I hate following rules for the sake of following them. I want to understand why. And I couldn't wrap my head around why. And it was a hot day, and so I decided that day to wear shorts. And I went to school, and someone told on me. And I had to go to the principal's office. And at the time, we had a head principal and a vice principal. And the head principal walks past me with his coffee in his hand, and he gives me an up down and shakes his head. And then the vice principal, who was really into I think it was jujitsu. I can't remember which one it was, but he was really into one of those martial arts. And he actually shoved his forearm to my neck and shoved me against the wall. And they asked me why did I wear shorts? Obviously, I can't respond because his forearm is towards my neck. It's like pushing against my neck. And then he releases it, asks me again, why did you wear shorts? And all I could reply was that, well, it's April and it's warm. And that was enough they suspended me. But it was an in-school suspension. So I had to sit in a room in the quiet, which actually was quite nice. I had to sit in a room in the quiet. And the only thing that was the downfall was I missed all my classes, but it didn't really matter. But I was in the quiet in my own thoughts. And I just sat there thinking about this rule. And there was a detention teacher, I guess you want to say, someone looking over the kids in detention that I was in. And he asked me, why did you come in to detention? Like, what did you do? And I said, well, I wore shorts. And he just gave me like the most confused look, like, why would that be enough to send you? And I just didn't have an answer. I said, I don't know. That's just the rule. I guess I broke the rule. Now, I give this story because I'm not sure why I was thinking about it. It's been so long since that story's happened. And I realized that I was trying to break these outside rules. And I was trying to sort of bend and maybe, circumvent. Maybe I can get away with, breaking the rule. And it was so external. But what I didn't realize at the time was that I was actually really trying to break the internal rules that I created within myself. Because how many, no shorts until May rules that I set up in my mind? I made a video called "Consciousness," it's like a mental outfit, and that can be applied here, right? Is that how many times, if we look at states of consciousness as certain articles of clothing that we wear, there's certain rules I've set up that I'm not allowed to be in certain states of consciousness. That I'm not allowed to wear that. There's a rule that I've placed, some condition. It has to be May, or it has to be some time period, or I have to have a certain amount of money before, or I have to have a certain amount of intelligence, or I have to be this or that enough before I can imagine having such a thing. And I set up all these external rules, or really the internal rules, that these conditions that I place upon myself that I actually want to break. I want to stop thinking that I'm not allowed to wear a certain state of consciousness. And yet, I was fighting the outside. I was fighting shadows. Nothing really happened, right? I mean, the moment it's not like I changed myself. I just wore shorts. It's not like I did much. But what I was trying to do is that I look back and that was a symbol And I don't think I should have broke those rules. I think I should have just followed them. But I didn't at the time. And that really just stemmed from me not wanting to follow, like I said, the rules that I made inside myself. There's so many states of consciousness I wanted to wear, but I told myself I wasn't, it was too big, or it was too big enough. You ever like go to like a thrift store or something, and you see like clothes you think it's going to fit, but you think it's going to be too big. You never really know. Well, that's how it is. You should try it on before you say no. That's what I would say. And so I don't regret fully that I wore shorts that day. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But I regret that I tried to disrupt the rules that this principal set up. I don't think they should have choked me out. But regardless, it was really the internal rules. And so I have to ask myself, how many of these rules have I set up within myself? You'd have to ask yourself that. How many conditions have you placed? It could be such a silly condition, and yet we've placed it upon ourselves. I need to have an X amount of this, or I need to wait until then to wear this state of consciousness that is already within me. It's already something that is inside of me that I'm waiting to occupy. And Neville said that is the biggest failure amongst his students, was the failure to occupy a state. And a lot of people think about what they want. They think about it all day long. But few actually live from the idea. They sleep in the idea. They wake up in the idea. They walk in the idea. They think in the idea of being it already. It's being it already. You don't try to be good. You feel that you already are good, and that's how you become it. And so we move inside ourselves by the assumption of already being it, certainly not by rules, and not through the efforts on the outside. And so I see that story as a symbol. And so I'm not telling anybody to break any rules, but I am sort of suggesting that you should see the rules and conditions you've set up within yourself that you should probably break. You should probably stop thinking you're not allowed to have a certain state. You're not allowed to wear it because some person at one point told you you're not allowed to. I was told many times I wasn't allowed to be a certain thing. Even if I wanted it, I was told no all the time. And that no, when you get told no, that's what happened to Neville in the army, is that he was told no when he wanted to leave. And no matter how many pleas he made, no matter how many times he mentioned his wife and his kid and he needed to take care of, he was told no. So all the pleas I made in my life that I wanted to be something, I was told no. Well, you don't go to somebody else to give you permission. You go within yourself. You break the idea of no. You don't let that no be inside. That's what brazen impudence means. You don't let it be a no. You don't have to outwardly do what I did. You don't have to wear the shorts. But I would say wear the mental shorts. Wear them, even though you're told you're not allowed to. The senses will always say you shouldn't or you can't. But do it anyways. And you'll see you already are the thing that you want to be. And as Neville said, the only reason why you don't see is you refuse to believe it, that you already are it. It's the only reason why you don't see it. And so you're told, no, there's no way you could ever be such a thing. Well, you assume that you already are that thing. You just assume it within yourself. Let everyone say what they want to say. Let the rules be there. So that would be my advice, is that to myself, if I had to go back and give myself some advice, I would say leave it alone. You don't have to do that. Just you start to appropriate within yourself what you want to be. It's not about the shorts. It's not about breaking the rules on the outside. It's not about that. It didn't do me anything, right? It got me suspended. It's not like did me any good. So what was I really trying to do? Well, I was expressing outwardly what I really wanted to do inwardly. I wanted to break those rules within me. And I had many, many rules and conditions in place that didn't allow me to occupy the positions I wanted to be in. It was always some little reserve in the back of my mind that stopped me from occupying it. Some what if it doesn't work? Or what if you don't have enough? Or how are you going to get that? It was always some little doubt that I reserved just in case. And that's the rule I wanted to break. I wanted to let go of my doubt. But I thought I had to hold on to it. I thought I had to reason with myself. It had to be logical. I had to figure it out. before I could actually accept it and assume it. And so I never became it. I found myself just going in circles, in logical circles. I just found myself going in circles. I never really moved. And the times I did move is when I removed all of those questions. I stopped asking myself, what if? I just did it. And what did I do? I started to just do what I wanted to do in the flesh in my imagination. That's what I did. What is it that I want to do in the flesh? What is it I want to feel in the flesh? I would feel it. What is it that I want to do in the flesh? I would do it. It didn't matter what it was at a certain point. I stopped caring about it. What do I want to do? I would do it. And that's what Neville says. You just have to imagine that you are doing it. Don't imagine trying to do it. Imagine that you are doing it. Let's go back to the ladder experiment. You don't imagine trying to get a ladder in your mind. You imagine climbing it. So I don't care what it is. You just start doing it. And you become persistent on doing it. It's just it just becomes a part of your nature when the more and more you do it, because we create ourselves out of our own imagination. And so take what you will from that story. It's just an interesting story to see it as a symbol, a parable. Although that actually happened, it symbolizes something for me. I saw what I was trying to do. I just didn't do it. I didn't do it internally. I was doing it externally. But I would advise you to do it internally. I don't care what rules you've set up. Try to break them by just assuming you already are the thing. Don't let a condition be in the way that stops you from actually occupying it. And so I'm going to end it here on this video. I just want to give a short story, a parable, to make you think about breaking certain rules that you might have created in your own mind that stops you from occupying certain states that you want to be in. And I also want to say, I'm going to take the channel a bit different. I'm going to start speaking about the lectures that I read. I read Neville all the time, and I have so many notes that I've taken from his lectures that I haven't shared them. So I'm going to start sharing them. I'm going to start speaking about, his lectures that he said later in his life. And I also this November 22nd, I'm going live 2:30 Eastern Standard Time for members. And I want to do a public one as well in the future. So keep a lookout for that. But thanks for listening, guys.